Have you ever noticed how two statements with the exact same facts can make you feel completely different? It's a fascinating, kind of weird quirk of the human mind, and today we're going to dig into exactly why that is. Trust me, understanding this one little concept can totally change the way you see the world.
So, take a look at this. On one side, we've got a product marketed as 90% fat-free. And right next to it, the very same product is described as contains 10% fat. Now, the math is the same, right? It's identical. There's zero difference in the product itself.
But come on, be honest. Which one feels healthier? Which one are you more likely to grab off the shelf? For most of us, 90% fat-free just sounds way better. So what's going on here? Why does our brain create such a strong preference when, logically, there shouldn't be one at all? Well, this isn't a bug in our thinking, it's a feature.
And this powerful mental shortcut actually has a name. And believe me, it influences us every single day. It's called the framing effect.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. The framing effect is our built-in tendency to let the presentation of information, the frame, steer our decision, even when the core facts haven't changed one bit. It's not about what is being said, but all about how it's being said. The frame itself becomes this filter that we see reality through.
Now, this goes way beyond what yogurt you buy. This bias shapes incredibly important decisions in our lives, from medicine to the media we consume. So let's look at a few examples to see just how powerful this thing really is.
Imagine there's a big public health crisis. If a new treatment is framed in terms of gains, like this plan will save 200 out of 600 people, we tend to play it safe. We lock in that sure thing. But if the exact same outcome is framed in terms of losses, with this plan, 400 out of 600 people will die, we suddenly become huge risk takers, willing to gamble just to avoid that certain loss.
The potential outcome is identical in both scenarios. Nothing changes. But our actual behavior, the choice we end up making, is dramatically different. That's the framing effect in action. Silently pushing our buttons and steering our decisions without us even realizing it's happening.
And we see this all the time in the media. A headline like this frames an economic event through a lens of fear, of scarcity, of danger. It immediately triggers anxiety and makes you focus on all the negative stuff.
But that exact same economic event could be framed this way, highlighting opportunity, change, and growth. This frame creates a sense of hope, of being proactive. You've got the same facts on the ground, but two completely different emotional realities. And that leads to two opposing beliefs about what's actually happening in the world.
And what happens is, over time, when we're exposed to the same frames again and again and again, they stop being just a presentation. They actually become the message itself. They start shaping our deepest opinions and our emotional gut reactions to really complex topics.
So why? Why are our brains so easily fooled by this? Why don't we just see the raw facts for what they are? Let's kind of peek under the hood and look at the science of why this works so incredibly well on us.
The real reason is actually simple, but it's also profound. Our brains process information emotionally first and logically second. A frame's main job isn't to inform you, it's to make you feel something: hope, fear, a sense of gain, or a sense of loss.
This quote really says it all. Once that initial emotion gets triggered by the frame, our logical reasoning finally kicks in. But often, it's just looking for evidence to back up how we already feel. It's like emotion gets a huge head start in a race, and logic is left playing catch-up.
And look, this isn't some harmless little mental quirk. When we don't check it, it's how our most critical decisions get manipulated. It's how a politician can frame a tax as a death tax or a relief plan to sway your vote. It's how advertisers get us to pick their product over an identical one. When frames go unnoticed, our ability to think for ourselves gets a whole lot weaker.
But here's the good news. We aren't powerless against this. Once you can actually see the frame, you can step outside of it. So let's build a quick mental toolkit for making clearer, more independent choices.
Okay, here are 4 really simple steps. First, just try to restate the information using the most neutral, boring language you can think of. Second, actively flip the frame. Ask yourself, how would someone with the complete opposite point of view present these exact same facts? Third, focus on the hard numbers. Is it a 10% failure rate or is it a 90% success rate? Same number, different feeling. And finally, just pause. Give yourself a moment. Let that initial emotional wave pass before you make a decision.
Ultimately, recognizing the framing effect isn't about ignoring language. It's about refusing to let our most important decisions get hijacked just by the way something is presented. And the real question that leaves us with is this: How many of our most deeply held beliefs aren't really about the facts at all, but just about the frames we've been looking through all along?